Miles Bridges, you can get his points at 17.5 if you want to pay some juice there. 18.5 and 19.5 for plus money. So I don't necessarily mind either of those spots. We'll look at him in terms of, for the sake of the video, at this 17.5 number. And I do think it's a really good spot for him. In terms of his last 10 games here, I mean, he's been averaging over 22 points per game, 22.8. So just almost 23 points per game, right? Going up against a Brooklyn defense that, yeah, they do play fairly well on the perimeter, but is that what we're totally looking for when we look at Miles Bridges? Well, sure. I mean, I think he'll catch some spot up threes and stuff like that, right? But he also shoots 55% of his shots in the paint, which is why I really do think we could see some domination from him today, especially if this game does turn into any sort of a transition fest or anything like that. So this Brooklyn team, 71% of their opponents in terms of preventing, that field goal percentage against in the paint. And then we look at it in terms of preventing points in the paint. They're 24th in the league. So what is that, 7th worst, a bottom 10 team. I like the spot here for Bridges. Again, I like the matchup overall for him, but I do think that this is in the paint type of fest for him. But again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he won't make a few threes to go out there and attribute to this, 18, 19 points, whatever you get him at there. Overall, too, like when you look at it in terms of, players that they've faced against, it doesn't look all that, like, bad, right? I mean, you look at some of the small forwards slash power forwards that have played this Brooklyn team, and a few of them have definitely gotten locked up. But in terms of guys that have similar play types, I guess you could say, in terms of where they score in the paint and outside, it does not look all that good. So I think that when you get that next layer down too, Bridges looks even better. And like I mentioned, I'm looking at the in the paint, but from the spot up, again, if he does go out there and hit a couple threes or spot up jumpers, this Brooklyn team may or may not defend it all that well, but the foul line, the transition, I think that this is where we could also get Miles Bridges involved. So I almost look at all of his play type, go to spot up, free throws, transition, pick and roll, the ball handler, the roll man, whichever one, because he does both. I think that he does have a really good game today. And again, if you look at similar players, I would say guys that like to drive, guys that also can pull up, there's not exactly much for the Brooklyn Nets to be to be bragging about there. So Miles Bridges, I'm ranting at this point, over 17.5 points. 18.5 is probably a little bit better of a line in terms of odds, but screenshot says 17.